Hey, I'm just checking how this is. So just give me a second and let's see how everything is. Just a mic check quickly. Just give me a second and see how things are.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear myself. Hopefully no issues here. Yeah, I've been answering some comments here. So one second. Somebody is asking about okay, somebody is talking about the breadth of the course. We have been doing content faster, but we have not compromised on any quality anywhere. Even if it takes more time, we don't think we compromise it. Of course, we have to be realistic here and cover the contents based on GATE syllabus. Otherwise, as I told you multiple times, I can spend a whole year just on one subject, right? So if there is anything like that where you feel that the content breadth or depth is missing, do let us know. I think for compiler design, we should add more solved problems. I'm working on it right now, right? So apart from that, any other suggestions you have, we'll happily oblige and add more things. No problem at all, right? So, okay, sounds good. Okay, so let's wait for a few minutes. I'll try to answer some questions from the comment section here. So Matish is asking about runtime environments, etc. That's something that there have been no questions in the last 15 years or probably even more. So what we're doing right now is we're trying to take questions. Again, we have to limit the scope or else we can just build a whole compiler in the course, right? We have to be realistic there also. And some of the concepts that are covered in theory of computation, we did not redo them in compiler design. I mentioned that in the videos also. And we have to be realistic. For example, so we focus on concepts which are more covered in, so which tend to occur in GATE. For example, let me give you an example. In operating system, there is this concept of concurrent programming. There is no question on the topic from 94 onwards. But still, we initially thought we'll skip it, but we said maybe this year they'll ask. So we added the content for that also. So even if you see, so we are seeing papers from 1991 onwards. And if there's any question on these topics, we end up covering the concept in depth. If there is anything missing, do let us know. We'll happily oblige. We'll cover more concepts. Okay? Sounds good. Okay. So Mrinmoy has a good question. So you're saying how to remain cool and calm after getting low marks in test series. Remember one thing. I used to take tests as a practice. Like for example, when I was preparing for GATE, again, in the months of September, October, I would take some previous year GATE question and I will not be able to solve it. So the most important thing is remember that you still have a few months to go. You're still in the first iteration now. So if you cannot solve it in January, that's a little piece of concern. Again, GATE questions, some questions will be hard. You don't have to solve every question to get a good rank, right? You have to make that strategic choice on which questions are hard and which questions you should avoid if you're not sure of the solution, right? It's perfectly okay. This is your first iteration. You will make mistakes. Just make sure that you're not making silly mistakes. And if you're making silly mistakes, make a note of it. That's very, very important. As I told you in the last session, right? Make a note of all the silly mistakes you're making so that you can go back to it. That's very, very important. So that you can go back to it and before the exam or in your second revision or third revision, you can go back and see what mistakes you have done so that you don't do the same mistakes again. Very, very important, right? So, sounds good. Okay. Dynamic programming is there in data structures and algorithms. Why is it not in data structures algorithms? It's already in data structures algorithms, right? So somebody is asking about dynamic programming. We covered it in data structures algorithms long ago, right? So, okay. So let's go. First, let's cover the operating system stuff. I'll come back to these questions at a later point, right? So, okay. Somebody from my team also says the 64th chapter in data structures algorithms is completely dynamic programming. Thanks team. Anyway, so let me just share the screen now quickly and okay, sharing the screen here. I hope everybody can see me. Just let me refresh this page also and see if you can see the screen. As soon as the screen is live, I'll start discussing about it. Okay, just give me a second, folks. Okay, I'm just waiting for the screen to go live. As soon as it goes live, I'm good. Okay, so yeah, the screen is live now. Let me know if there is any problem anywhere. Let me just check here. Any issues that anybody is complaining of? Nothing whatsoever. So the screen is live. Cool. So let me go back here. Okay. So this is a marks distribution. Just like for the previous subjects, we'll give you the marks distribution topic wise. And so there are two sheets here. Please note that there are two sheets here, sheet 1 and sheet 2. Sheet 2 says for each of these topics in each of these years, how many easy, medium, hard questions came, which of them are tricky, right? Typically in operating systems, you will get anywhere from 7 to 10 marks, typically. And it's a fairly scoring subject, because if you look at this, your whole process management, your scheduling algorithms, your fork, basic interrupts, all of these typically are roughly about 3 marks. Okay, of course, there are some years where you get fewer marks also. Look at 2018. You got fewer marks from this, but they increased the weightage from deadlocks. Okay, they just gave 3 marks questions, marks worth 3 marks. Sorry, they gave probably 2 questions or 3 questions from deadlocks itself. Right? So broadly speaking, you will get, in the more recent past, we are seeing somewhere around 9 to 10 marks. In 2017, there was a slightly lesser weightage, unfortunately. I hope people realize that operating systems is also a very important subject in reality, and they increase the weightage. That's good. So look at your first topic. Again, we have broken up into 5 topics. Your process management is all your scheduling algorithms, your basic fork, basic scheduling algorithms, etc. This is extremely easy. Trust me, this is super duper easy. So actually, instead of going through this, let's just go through the second sheet where we have more details. Let's just go through this, right? So look at this. These are your topics, right? Your process management, scheduling, interrupts, all of these concepts. These are typically very easy questions that you get. Once in a while, you might get a slightly harder question about fork. Actually, there is a fork question in 2019. I won't call it medium. It's actually fairly straightforward because we did that as part of the solved problems in the course, right? So this is very, very scoring. You typically tend to see a decent amount of marks. I think the trickiest part in the whole of operating system is concurrency and synchronization. This is all of your interprocess communication and synchronization. Here you typically end up getting fairly tricky questions. Again, you can break this into multiple subparts here, but these questions are tricky. And why are they tricky? Because they would typically ask about the synchronization mechanisms and things like that. Here there are so many possibilities because preemption can happen. Imagine if I have 2 processes here, the preemption can happen anywhere. So you have to think very, very carefully of all the boundary cases. You have to be very, very careful here, right? So again, amongst whole of operating system, if I have to pick one topic which is tricky, I won't even call it hard, I would call it tricky. It is tricky because the problems are not hard, but they're very easy to make silly mistakes on, right? Again, we have solved a ton of these problems in our course, especially in the solved problems. I think we've solved all the problems from 2014 onwards, right? We have solved a ton of problems and hope those problems will give you the confidence to tackle more questions, right? So this is slightly tricky. This is tricky. Next is deadlocks, right? The third concept is deadlocks. Deadlocks is actually dead easy. Okay, deadlocks is dead easy. That's like a good rhyme. So deadlocks is again very, very easy to score because they're mostly going to ask you about Banker's algorithm or the resource allocation graph or safe state, unsafe state type of problems. Very simple questions. I've solved some of these questions. I've solved questions, I think, from 2014 onwards. Again, you could get anywhere from 2 to 1 mark or 2 marks from deadlocks. Very easy to score. The only tricky part is concurrency and synchronization. Deadlocks is dead easy. Memory management is also easy. Actually, memory management is also fairly easy to score. File systems, you get questions from disks or file allocation methods or scheduling. Again, this is also fairly easy. So if you think about it, in the whole operating system itself, so even if you look at it broadly, again, this page might be slightly overwhelming because we broke it by subtopic wise. Even if you look at it as a topic wise, except for this part, even within this part, some questions are easy, some questions are tricky. So except for some 2 to 3 marks, right? Sometimes even 4 marks, right? Except for this section, which is your concurrency, your synchronization mechanisms, your interprocess communication, that's the tricky part. Rest everything is very, very scoring. Again, some of these questions can be lengthy. So you have to be patient to read the questions well. Again, I've seen some questions in operating systems which are very lengthy. So they take a lot of time to read the question. It takes us a lot of time, but solving the question is very simple if you know the basics, right? Again, our team has prepared. So across all these topics, if you're not sure, again, please don't skip this topic. Please don't skip this topic because if you're careful, you can literally get 10 out of 10 marks or 8 out of 8 marks in operating systems. One of the easier subjects to score except for IPC and synchronization. This is the only tricky concept where you may lose some marks, but rest of it, you should easily be able to crack it if you know the basics. And this is not some rocket science here, right? So some of our teammates also created general suggestions in general. Okay, these are general suggestions about how to tackle operating systems, right? Again, I'll share this sheet also with you. Broadly speaking, they ask us to understand the question because the questions can be lengthy. So please try to understand what is being asked in the question and try to visualize, draw things, either your timelines or your Gantt charts, whatever it is, draw things so that things become easier. Or whether it's your resource allocation graph, whatever it is, even your file systems, try to draw things and visualize what's happening. That way, operating systems can be very scoring, and please try to spend sufficient time understanding the questions. This is where lot of people make mistakes, and please don't apply formula directly. This you should not do for any subject, right? So another thing that we often notice is for operating system, and just like operating system, even for other subjects, we see some people going into unnecessary depth. Again, right now, as we are getting closer and closer to gate, our objective is to crack gate, right? Suppose if you want to learn all the Linux internals, suppose, of course, I've learned this myself. I've enjoyed reading Linux internals, how Linux implements things and all of that. But this is not the time for it, right? Finish off your gate. You have all the time on earth to read about Linux internals afterwards. Right now, we have to focus on what is necessary for gate, okay? Because we are getting closer. You need to start focusing on that. Again, we have seen some students who go on tangential directions. Like for example, we have some students who are asking us to cover virtual machines, okay, which is there in the textbooks. If you refer to any of your standard Galvin, Schilbert's Galvin or Stalling's books, virtual machines is a very interesting topic, but it's not in gate syllabus, right? So let's focus, let's narrow it down to what is necessary for gate. And how do we determine whether a topic is important for gate? It's all based on the previous year's marks. Again, when we cover content, again, please avoid unnecessary depth, not just for OS, for any subject. Let's focus on gate because we need to crack it in the next few months. Once this is done, you want to go ahead, implement a compiler, please be my guest. I would love to see you implement it. You want to build a virtual machine of your own? Let's do it. You want to build an operating system of your own? Let's do it. We have all the time. Once you get into a top-notch institute, you will anyway do some of these courses or some of the advanced versions of these courses where you learn it again, right? Again, many of the things that you learn in operating systems will be important in your graduate studies when you learn distributed systems. Most universities have some distributed systems course, and this is very, very interesting. So most of the concepts that we learn in operating systems will play a role in your careers because there are a lot of distributed systems in the world today, okay? So concepts here will stay with you for a lifetime. Again, I have used a lot of concepts from operating systems that I refer to in the course videos also, right? Again, process management, just focus more on scheduling algorithms, okay? Because that's where most of your questions typically come from, okay? As far as synchronization is concerned, it is very, very common. Do not worry about it. You do not get it in the first go. We all make mistakes. When I was reading synchronization and I was solving problems, I was falling into the trap. Like some of our students have pointed mistakes in one video. See, I made a mistake there. I genuinely made a mistake. I went back, edited the video, right? So this is a confusing topic because you have to think of all the possibilities, because preemption can happen here, preemption can happen here, preemption can happen anywhere, which can make synchronization problems tricky to analyze and it has lots of pitfalls. So if you're not able to solve these problems the first go, it's okay. Take your time, okay, and look at problems from multiple perspectives, which basically means think about all the possible preemption locations, okay. I know it takes time, but it's with practice you'll become better at it, right? Next is your deadlocks. Very easy to score. Most of the questions are from your standard resource allocation stuff, your resource allocation graphs, your whether it's a safe, unsafe system from Banker's algorithm, etc. Very simple to score. Similarly, in memory management, most questions come from paging, demand paging, some page replacements. Again, in memory management, you could get a lot of very lengthy questions where they give you about what is the size of the page. A lot of details are given. These questions are easy, but you have to be careful about reading these questions thoroughly, right? And anyway, from tomorrow, we'll be uploading the memory management content. I'll also solve lots of problems here so that you know how to tackle these problems. Again, file systems, very easy to score. Mostly you'll get questions from disk scheduling. Sometimes, or on the other hand, you could get from file allocation. Again, this should be very easy to score, okay? So please focus on these concepts. Again, I'm not saying that GATE this year will not ask questions slightly different from last year. But if you notice, again, this is something that we have observed over the last almost 20 plus years of gate. Almost we are looking at question papers from 1990 onwards, right? This is almost like last 30 years, almost 29 years of question papers. The questions do not change significantly from one year to other year. What we are noticing here is actually questions from 2017 onwards have become actually easier. The questions are easier, but they have become also trickier. Look at this. What they've done is the questions have become easier as compared to previous years. Like there are some deadly years, right, where questions are really hard. They take a lot of time to solve. But what has been happening over the last 3 years or so is some of the questions are tricky. They want you to fall for the trap in the options that they give you, right? So just be careful about that. Okay, so that's one thing. So I'll share both this Excel sheet and this standard and these general recommendations from our team. Also, we have just launched our forum that some of our students have been asking for. Just go to gate.appliedcourse.com/forum, right? This is our standard. In case you can't read this, it is gate.appliedcourse. It is gate.appliedcourse.com/forum. So let me make a few things clear here. This forum is for student-student interaction, right? We'll be putting up all the questions. And again, if you are placing any question here, please add these tags. What I strongly recommend here is if it's a previous year gate question, please add the gate year, please add the subject, please add the topic and also the subtopic. Okay, please try to add all of them. So for every question, this will make it easy for us to actually collate these questions by subtopic wise when you want to practice, right? So what we want is subject wise, topic wise, subtopic wise, and if it's a gate question, please mention that it's a gate question, or if it's a question from a textbook, please mention that in your tags. Let's assume it's from William Stalling's book. Just say William Stalling's in your tag, right? Again, this forum is mostly meant for student-student interactions. The team at Applied Course, we are pretty busy with all the students whom we are currently serving, all the registered students. We are answering all of their questions in just a few hours from the time they ask us, especially during the day hours. So that is our top priority. In case we have time, we'll surely come and answer some of these questions, in case we have time. But our first priority is obviously our registered students, and this is open for everyone. Anybody can just register for free here and participate in this forum. This forum is mostly for student-student discussion. Anything that is not resolved, feel free to email us. This is our email address and we will respond to it. And if you are placing a question from here and asking us to answer that, please also place the link from the forum itself so that we know where to place the answer so that others also can benefit, right? So again, since some of you have been asking, we have just launched this. And just one more announcement before we go into a general discussion. We're announcing the next batch, the next short-term batch from 15th of September, okay, which is 3 days from now, right, which is a Thursday. So 15th of September is not a Thursday, right? 15th of September is a Sunday. I think there is a typo here. I think 15th of September is a Sunday. Yes. Okay, 15th of September is a Sunday. I remember this because we need to finish operating systems content by 16th. So I know it very well. Okay, so again, this is the syllabus, and here we are hoping we'll give you a schedule, but you will have to cover up to 5 hours of scheduled content and practice, right? And this could take up to 8 hours of effort. This could take up to 8 hours of effort. If you're willing to put in this effort and if you're considering gate is still crackable. Even if you start on 15th of September, we can finish all of the content by end of December. Then you have 1 more month to practice very, very thoroughly. But of course, if you're planning for gate enough, you got to be very, very serious about finishing all the content, solving a ton of problems, right? So if you're serious about it, we have a short-term batch that is starting from 15th of September, right? Those were the stuffs that I wanted to cover. I'll spend some time. I'll spend some time answering the questions here, right? So anyway, my team is also answering some of the questions. Okay, so 1 second. Okay, sounds good. So any questions, just shoot these questions on the chat session. I'll try to answer as many as possible, right? Okay, somebody's asking, have one test just on semaphores. Okay, mutexes, basically IPC and synchronization, right? We'll try this. Actually, we have already created some tests. We'll see if we can just create one test on the hardest topic. We'll seriously consider this, Shashi. It's a good suggestion. We'll try to answer this for sure. So anyway, I'll provide links. I'll provide links to all of these sheets, either it's the mark sheet, mark distribution sheet or it's the OS strategies. I'll also share the link to the Gate forum in the description section of this video and in the comment section, right? So any questions you have, I have some more time. I could spend 5 to 10 minutes answering your questions. And anybody who wants to leave, feel free to leave. Okay, perfectly all right. Whatever I wanted to cover, and I hope you got a good sense of how to prepare for OS. And please understand, this is the time to focus. Okay, there is no point going too far. Again, you have to be smart about your preparation. Just doing hard work will not get you success. You have to be very smart about it. You need to have a rock solid strategy, right? The strategy that we suggest you is stick to the GATE syllabus now, focus on the syllabus, solve as many problems as you can. That's my suggestion, right? Okay, so yeah, we'll share this data sheet for sure. We'll surely share this data sheet. Just give me some time. Right after this video, I'll put in the comment section the whole distribution, the general recommendations we have, all of that we'll place it, right? So I'm the instructor for OS, so don't worry about it. I think there are some free videos also, so do check it out. So somebody is asking about difficult previous year questions. Actually, we thought about it. The problem is this. So for the difficult questions from previous years, if we do, we were brainstorming on just doing a session only on difficult sessions. The problem here is people will get unnecessarily demotivated. Because how many questions are difficult? If you take the whole GATE question paper, less than 15% of them are actually difficult questions. Even if you just skip those difficult questions, there is a very high chance you'll get a good rank, right? So just don't focus only on difficult questions. So we actually brainstormed. I wanted to do just a live session only on difficult questions from every subject. The problem is students will get unnecessarily demotivated. Okay, so we will do those interactive live sessions. We are planning one of that soon. We'll announce that anyway. So we'll do that interactive live session, like wherein we solve 7 to 8 questions, right? We'll do that. But we will have a mix of questions there. We'll probably start with easy questions, go to medium questions, have a couple of hard questions. Just doing only hard questions will demotivate, because that's not how the GATE exam is. GATE exam has less than 15% of questions which are actually hard. So let's be realistic there, and please don't spend too much time just focusing on hard questions only, right? Because by doing that, if you're not revising the other subjects or if you're not preparing the rest of the content well, you're just messing up your preparation, right? So you need to balance. Okay, sounds good. So what is the best way to practice synchronization? Again, just solve as many problems as you can. I can't emphasize that enough. Because OS problems, so synchronization problems in GATE are not too hard. I'll tell you, if you go to any of the major universities, look at their assignment problems like MIT, Stanford, even the standard textbooks. If you go to the assignment section or if you go to the practice problems, go to the last problem. They're really hard, right? They're really hard problems there. But in GATE, people typically don't ask those really, really hard synchronization problems, because the people who are setting the paper know that many people can't. I don't think anybody can solve these really hard questions in like 3-4 minutes. So the people who are setting the paper are also realistic. They'll give you slightly tricky. They're not hard. Please understand that. They're tricky, not hard. Okay, the objective of the person who is setting the GATE question paper is not to make your question paper unnecessarily hard, right? But if you want to practice questions, my best strategy is solve all the last 10 or 20 or even 30 years of synchronization questions, right? That's the best strategy. Okay, so make a video about. Okay, let me go here. I mean, I've lost track of the questions now. Okay, whatever comes, I'll do it. Okay. So now again, we have a choice. Most likely, we'll finish operating system on 16th or 17th. We can either start computer organization or computer networks. Many people are asking for CO, so I'll try to start CO. Okay, so I'll need a day or so to just read through all of the CO textbook. Again, CO is not very hard. We can easily cover it. I'll try to simplify it as much as possible with as many diagrams as possible. I'll try to do my best job. But let's see how it evolves, right? Again, I do not claim that I'm best at teaching every subject. That's only useless to claim. And it's not true also. So CO is a very interesting subject. Actually, in my undergraduate days myself, I used to love the hardware subjects. System subjects were my favorite subjects till my 4th year. It's only in 4th year that I encountered subjects like image processing and neural networks that I really fell in love with machine learning. If machine learning was not my love, probably I would have become more of a software engineer working on operating systems, distributed systems, etc. right? So I'll try to do the justice for computer organization also as much as I can, but we're always here to take your feedback. We'll try to improve as much as possible. Okay, sounds good. So somebody's asking about previous year questions on the website, as in on the forum. We're just adding them one by one. Okay, I hope over the next 1 week, maybe 10 days, we should have all the previous year questions tagged by subject and all of that, so that you can practice them, right? Okay, so I explained about ECE students writing CSC, right? So for you, there are a couple of advantages, there are a couple of disadvantages, right? Your biggest advantage is you should be able to score very well in engineering mathematics, because you guys are supposed to be better than computer science guys, because you've used all these subjects much longer than us, right? All the hardware subjects, digital logic circuits, computer organization, because you guys have studied much more of that than us, right? So you should focus on the subjects where your strength is, right? Then go to the rest of the subjects. Again, theory of computation is a very mathematical subject. I'm assuming because EC guys study advanced mathematics in M3 and M4, like vector calculus, very interesting mathematics. You should also focus. Again, there is one live session that we did on the order of topics. EC guys also can focus on that order while also leveraging their strengths, right? Also try to leverage your strengths because you come from an electronics background. All of these electronics related subjects you should score. Engineering mathematics you should score more than every computer science student, right? Okay, so can you provide schedule for preparing GATE as you did? So we already provide schedule, right? For every batch we provide a schedule. I think there is a confusion here. So for every batch that is there, we provide a schedule for preparing for GATE. So we already do that. Okay, so somebody is asking about what should you do for GATE preparation. My suggestion is this, guys. So how much time do we have? This is September 15th, close to September, October, November, December, Jan. 4.5 months is what we have. 4.5 to 5 months, depending on your exact date. This is the time where you buckle up, where you take all of your hard work and focus. Okay, try to spend as much time as you get. My suggestion, if you can do it, just stop using your smartphone for a few months. Unless it's really emergency. I've told this trick to you earlier, right? I do it. My smartphone, I just close it, or I put it in I just put it in a sleep mode or whatever, the vibration mode, throw it out and work. Focus, practice. 4.5 months, just practice like crazy. That's the way you crack GATE. You don't crack GATE by going through just videos. You crack GATE by knowing the basics through videos that we provide, and most importantly, practice. 4.5 months, try to practice 2,000, 3,000 problems. You will surely crack GATE. Okay, don't try to remember answers by heart. That's useless. Try to solve these problems. Wherever you're not able to solve, go back, read the theory, revise and come back. That's what I did for the last 4 to 5 months. Because I prepared everything well in advance. Actually, again, depending on which year because I took my GATE in my third year and final year. In final year, I just did only practice, nothing else. Just practice left and right. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good, folks. Okay. Should we revise more than practice new problem? You have to tackle between both. We did a live session on how to make notes, how to prepare all of that stuff, right? So try to make sure that your first level notes that you have, you're making shorter notes when you revise it first time so that you can revise it faster. Both revision is important. One of the challenges with GATE is the syllabus is humongous. Compare it with any other competitive exam, right? Compare it with IIT JEE for 12th class students, right? The syllabus is much more narrow. So compare it with, let's say, a CAT. CAT syllabus is much more narrow, right? Take any exam. I think it is the only UPSC civil services exam where the syllabus is this vast. Okay, that's the only exam I can think of which has this vast syllabus. The GATE syllabus is vast. So you have to revise and practice. Practice is actually a form of revision if you think about it. The moment you can't solve a problem, that immediately tells you that you've forgotten the concept. So go back, revise them, and then come back. So practice and revision are not two things. You have to do them simultaneously, right? That's very, very important, right? Sounds good. Okay. Word. So your professors are asking for project. Just talk to them, convince them. I think they're sensible to give you that leeway. Tell them, sir or ma'am, whatever it is, I'll start working from Feb 15th, day in, day out. Okay, and please do work. Please do work after your GATE exam is over. Just request them. Many faculty at most colleges will respect that. Tell them I'm preparing seriously for GATE and I just need some bandwidth. So I think most faculty are sensible enough that they'll accommodate you, right? Sounds good. Okay, folks, that's all I wanted to cover without taking more time. I wanted to limit this to 30 minutes so that everybody's time is well utilized. I'll provide the links to all the documents that I've discussed in this session, also to our forum. Please participate in it. And let's focus now. This is the time to get focusing. And anywhere you think in our content, in the solved problems, again, some of our students requested us to do more questions on compiler design. We just collected lots of questions. I'll start doing them. As soon as operating systems is done, I'll start spending some time every day doing solutions for compiler design. As soon as we upload a video, we'll send you an email to all the registered students, right? Thank you for that feedback. This type of feedback is very, very important for us to constantly improve the course, right? So most likely after operating system, we'll start computer organization, and I'll try to do my best. It's a completely new type of subject for me because it's a hardware subject. Since I did not teach digital logic design, it's a new subject, but I'll try to do the justice. Okay. Again, always open to your feedback. We'll try to improve as much as we can. See you folks. Thank you.